Hello and welcome to the final episode of the Tower Defense Game tutorial series here on HyperCube Games. This series has gone quite a long way, and we are finally on the final episode of this series. Alright, so in this episode we're going to get the UI done, the very important UI to make the game a lot easier and more better to just play in general, to make it so you can see what's actually going on. Next, we're going to be actually making the waves a lot harder every single time you click on a nice button that clicks on next wave. You're going to make it so that each wave begins again. New waves happen every single time you press that next wave button, and the waves get progressively harder as you go. Next, we're going to be adding in the shooter, making the shooter actually have a change in color depending on the level that the turret is actually on. And now, yes, I know I promised this. I said I would do it maybe 2 episodes back on episode 8, but I never actually got to doing that in those episodes, so in this episode we're going to get that done. And yes, let's jump right into it. Alrighty, so to get ourselves started, we're going to go to Game Object, UI, and make ourselves a canvas. This is our starting point for our new UI. Over here we're going to go to the screen space overlay, or where the canvas thing is. We're not actually going to modify that, but where it says Pixel Perfect, we're going to tick that and turn it on here. And then where it says Canvas Scaler, we're going to set the UI scale mode to scale with screen size. Alright, so once you've done that, you're going to go over here where it says screen match mode, and you click on expand. Now the reason why, specifically because we need to make it so that the UI scales with the screen size, and that's what we're doing. So if you have a different monitor, different resolution, makes it so that the UI isn't too short, too small on some monitors, or too huge on other ones. So it keeps it nice and balanced on every single different type of screen. Alright, so now that we have that, let's go ahead and add our actual UI that we need. We're going to be adding in a button. Now the buttons aren't actually going to be working, only one of them are, which is the next wave button, but in doing so we actually have the text built in. All we need to do is just get rid of this button component, so it's just a text box, but rather a text box that shows information, better than just adding in a box, then adding in a text manually. Alright, so we're going to put this button all the way up on the top left over here, and then we're going to make it 160 by 80 on the width and height, and then for the position X, we're going to make that, I think, -10, nope, we're going to make it 10 on the X and -10 on the Y, so it pops out just a little bit so it's not so pushed up on the top of the screen there. And we're going to rename the button to be the, what is this going to display? The player health. This is going to be the player health display thing here. And then we're going to go to this text, take out where it says button, and put in health. And then we're going to put in any old number that we can, because this will be changed in our, what's it called, in script, when we actually modify all of this. So whatever we put here actually doesn't matter at all. So we're going to go to font size and change it to, I guess, 20, which should fit better. It should be bigger for what we're trying to work with here. And now that we have that, everything should be good for the player health display. Alright, so now that we have that, we're just going to copy that, and we're going to rename this to be the money display. And I'm going to go to the text, or not the text, but we're going to move the money display to the top right, and here we're going to make it so that the pos X, the X position is at -10, and the position on the Y is also -10. Same exact position, or not same exact position, but the same exact width and height here. And then where it says text, we're going to change this so it's money, and whatever it may be. And there we go, so that's in the position that we want it to be. Then we're going to make another one, and this is going to be at the bottom right, and this will be at the position of X, going to be -10, position Y is at 10, and same size in terms of that, and this will actually be, what is going to be, the next wave button. So this is actually going to be a button that actually does things. So where we have the button, we're going to click on add components, we're going to add the button component to actually make it so that that button does something. We're going to click on the text and change it so it says next wave, obviously because this is the next wave button. And then after we do that, we're going to copy only the money display, not the next wave button. We're going to copy it, and we're going to name this the what's it called, the wave counter. And Then we're going to move that to the bottom left, and its position X will be at 10, and the position Y will be also at 10. And it's the same size. And then where it says text, we're going to name this wave with a specific number that we do not really know. Now, like I said before, the text that's on at least these 3 buttons here will not be changing, or it will be changing in our script. So what we put here is more or less just a placeholder just to see what everything is and where it goes, but they will be changing. Alright, so all of our UI is set and ready to go. This is how it's going to look when we actually load the game. I know it looks a bit bland and bleak, but you guys can go ahead and edit it all for yourself if you know how to do that. Alright, so just to show you here, when we play the actual game here, you'll be able to see that when we hover over any one of these, you'll see nothing happens unless we go over the next wave. When we click on it, you'll see it actually changes color, but with these, nothing actually happens because they're not set as buttons. Alright, so let's go ahead and set up the actual UI so it works. Where it says player health, let's go ahead and start off with that. You'll see our text is what we actually need to modify. So let's go ahead and go into our player health script here, and we're going to be adding in a whole new variable. This variable is going to be called the player health text, and it's going to be of type text. Now in order to use the text type, we're going to need to import something. This is the Unity engine.ui. I think we have actually imported this before. Actually, I don't think we have. This is importing it, the Unity engine.ui, so we can actually use text as a type. We're going to be doing this in a lot of the other scripts as well. Alright, so now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and set player health text.text to be equal to, health, the string health, and then with a colon, but a space. And then we're going to be adding, cur HP dot toString, and with a parentheses and a semicolon at the end. Now what are we doing here? Exactly what we're doing here is we're grabbing the player health, we're accessing the actual text box here, and setting it so as health, the actual health words, and then we're adding it, be sure there's a space there so it's actually separated. We're making the actual number of current HP, which is going to be 50, and we're setting it to a toString, because in order for you to actually have text, you need to be having to be a string, and a string is where these quotations are. So we're converting the number into something that the text can actually read to make it so it displays in the game. Alright, so now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and close down this script here, go into the manager, and over here where it says the player health, you'll see a player health text is now available, and we need to drag something in there. All we need to do is drag and drop the text here, enter player health display, and drop it there. So now if we actually start the game, you'll be able to see that our health is still exactly the same as we set it, but let's wait a little bit for these cubes to actually hit the final waypoint here. And when they do, you'll see the health just slowly, or not really slowly, but it goes down. You'll be able to see here. It just goes down because there were 5, it's going to go down 25 because each one does 5 damage. Alright, so there we go. That is the setup for the health, and now we're just going to do that for the money and the wave counter. Alright, so let's go ahead and go into the player money script. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to make a whole new variable, and we're going to call this variable the player money text, also of type text. And as we know, in order to use text as a type, we're going to import Unity engine.ui. And now that we do that, we're going to go into function update, set player money text.text to equal money with a colon and a space, and then adding money.toString, just like we did in the last one, except for it's money and not health. Alright, so now that we've done that, let's go ahead and go into the game. When we click play, you'll see this is not question mark, but rather 250, but wait, it's not set to that because we didn't even set it, we didn't even actually drag it in. So you see that this is actually missing here. We're going to go ahead and money display and drag in our little text box here. And now, you already see that the question marks are now to 250. If we actually put in a turret, see it's now to 0, and whenever we kill something, just like we set, it's going to increase by 10 every single time. And there we go. That is the money and health beautifully set up there. Alright, so here we are in our wave spawn script. Here we're going to also import Unity engine.ui for displaying the actual wave that we're currently on. And here we're actually going to make it, I actually didn't do this before, but wave is actually going to be equal to 1 right at the beginning of the game. Let's go ahead and do that because we're actually going to be working with the wave variable, which we haven't worked on since the first time we actually made this wave spawn script back many episodes ago. So we're going to make the wave equal to 1 right at the beginning of the game, and then we're going to make it so we actually display the waves. We're going to make a whole new variable here again, and we're going to have the wave text, the wave count text. Let's go ahead and make a variable like that. Wave count text, that's the name of it, and then it's also going to be of type text. We've already imported the Unity engine.ui, so we don't need to do it again. And now that we've done that, we're going to go into the update function and go ahead and add in that wave count text dot text is equal to wave with no semicolon, but we need to add the quotations. Quotations wave with just a space, and then we're going to be adding in wave dot toString. And there we go. Let me just add in the semicolon, and now we're done. That is just going to be good for displaying the current wave that we are on. So we close that down, and then we go into the next waves button, click that, and where it says the text here, we're just going to drag in the text under wave count text in the wave spawn script. Click on play, and you'll be able to see that the question mark is now not set to be 0, which is a bit odd. Hold on. Oh, never mind. We actually dragged in the next wave button. We want the wave counter. So let's go ahead and drag in the wave counter, not the wave spawn next wave button. So now if I click on play, you can see a wave is now set to 1 as it is at the beginning of the game. Alright, so now that we have that, we're finally going to be setting up the next wave button. Now, the way buttons work is they run off of a function every single time you click it. So you can see here, on click, it requires a function, which is what these two little parameters mean. So on click is a function. So it requires a function to run inside of on click. So let's go ahead and go into our let's go back into our wave spawn script, and now we're going to add in a whole new function. This function is going to be called next wave, and it's going to be saying a few things here. First of all, what it's going to be doing is making the enemy count equal to 0. So it's going to reset our enemy count all the way back down to whatever it used to be, all the way down to 0. And it's going to set the max enemy count and increase it by, how about we make it so that 3 more enemies spawn every next wave. Alright, so now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and make it so that our wave, our actual wave itself, increases by 1. Alright, so now that we've done that, we're going to close that, and then we're going to go in to our wave counter, or next wave button, and we're going to click on this plus here, and we're going to go to none object, click that, type in manager to find the manager object, which is where the wave spawner script is stored. Where it says no function, go over here, scroll down to where it says wave spawn, and then click on the next wave function. Once we've done that, now it's all good and set up so that when we click on the next wave, it sets everything back to 0, and we're all good. So also what I want to do is, since whenever you start the game, you're always going to have 2 enemies escaping, meaning you lose health on the first level no matter what you do. We're going to go ahead and make it so that the max enemy count at the beginning of the game is set to 3. Yeah, so by doing that, it makes things a lot easier for us. Let's go ahead and spawn in a turret right here, and you'll see there are 3 enemies, and now they've all died. 1, 2. We have completed that. We now have 30 money. Our health is just fine, and we can now click on next wave, and you can see that it is increased by 2. The amount of enemies, so now max enemy count is set to 6, and we are all good. So it's going to start spawning in all the new 6 enemies for this new one. You can see now that we actually would have had to upgrade that, but sadly we did not have enough to get ourselves those last 2, and you can see we lost some health there. Now if we click on next wave, you'll be able to see here that the amount of enemies are very much, and now you can see that we actually insta-kill all of the enemies, which is actually pretty cool. So what this shows is that now every single wave we insta-kill, since I upgraded this to the next level, we need to make it so that the actual health of the enemy increases per wave. Now to do this, let's go ahead and do that actually. So what we're gonna do is go into the before we do any of this, we're gonna go ahead and in the middle of it, before we actually make enemy count equal to 0, we're going to go into our enemy game object, and we're going to do a get component. And we're doing get component, and what component is that? That is the enemy health. Get component, and that is going to be the enemy health component. Then we're going to getting that current HP. That's what we're actually trying to get. Now I want to see if that's actually, yep, current HP. That's what we're trying to access here. And now that we do that, we're going to add, how about we add, let's add 1 every single wave so that the actual game gets harder and it's not just an insta-kill every single time. And we're going to make it plus equals 1, not just plus 1, because that wouldn't work. And there we go. So now that we do that, let's go ahead and click on the X there. And now, if we actually run the game, we play it for ourselves and we spawn in a turret here, we're going to see that we kill it. We kill this entire wave, it's all finished. And that's over. We have 30 money just like the last time. Click on next wave, and this time, once we actually get the amount of money we need, we're going to go ahead and press U. You already see that we actually do insta-kill these guys. But now if we click on next wave, we see that the enemy health is still an insta-kill, which is a bit weird. Hold up. Oh, I did something wrong. It's actually, we're not going to be adding up the current HP, we're going to be adding up the maximum HP. That's what we want to do, because current HP is just going to make it so that their current HP is not important. We need to actually mess with the maximum HP that they have. Silly me, that was actually really dumb. So, there we go. They're a 2-hit kill here, and then they are a 2-hit kill once again. Now we click on next wave, we're able to see here that we need to kill these guys. Ooh, they take about 3 hits to kill. That is a ton. 2. Oh boy. Looks like we're not going to have to get... Wow, that's actually a really difficult round. So, looks like it is a bit unbalanced, the game, but it works. And the balancing is all up to you. That's the thing. I'm leaving it to you to balance up the game and make it more easier for the player, because it's actually a bit of a brutal game here. Alright, so the final thing that I wanted to do was make it so that the shooter actually changes color based on the level. So let's go ahead and set that up. Here I am back in the another script, not the actual shooter. We're not going to actually be establishing the shooter just yet. We're actually going to establish the enemy health, the maximum enemy health at the beginning of the game. We're going to establish it in the start function so that it never actually has a weird problem where when we start the game, after playing the game multiple times, the health is saved throughout waves. So if it's like wave 24 and you start the game back again at wave 1, it still saves the amount of health they have from wave 24, which is about 40, and that would be really bad, especially since you have just started the game. So in the start function, we're going to be typing in pretty much the same thing that we have down here, which actually we're going to just copy here. We're just going to copy and paste it all the way up here. And we're going to change this, so instead of adding 1, we're going to set it equal to 4. And yeah, so that just sets us to what we usually have it set to in the inspector, or rather setting it inside of script confirming it. Alright, so here we are in the turret level script, where we're going to be adding in the shooter, or where we're going to be changing the shooter colors. So let's go ahead and make 3 variables. We're going to be calling one of them shooter, and it's of type game object. Another one's going to be called orange, of type material, and another one called red, which is also of type material. Down here, after this if statement here, we're going to be typing in another if statement, testing whether or not level is equal to 2. Then, in the if statement, if level equals 2, we're going to make it so that the shooter dot get component, and this component is going to be the renderer, and then the renderer dot material is going to be equal to orange. This just changes the color of the shooter to be orange. Now let's copy this part right here, all the way from the bracket to bracket of the level of this if statement here, and we're going to change the level tested here from 2 to 3, and orange to red. Alright, so now we're done. If we close down our scripts here, you can see that our turret level has now updated with all of everything we need to put in. So now if we go into the project tab, then we go to our materials, we actually click that again, and then we drag in orange to where orange is, and red to where red is, and then we go to our shooter here, we drag in where shooter is in the turret, then we click on apply to confirm our changes so that every turret has the same thing. we can now test whether or not this worked. So let's click on play here. With the turret already there, we press U. You're able to see that the color changes. This is now level 2. And press it again. See, now it's red to confirm that you're now at level 3. But now you'll be able to see here that we don't actually have a cap for level 3, because I want to make this level cap to level 3. We are back in the script, and we're going to make it so that you can only level up as long as the level is less than or equal to 3. And that's it. That's just setting up a level cap so that it stays at level 3 and can never go higher than that. Alrighty, so we're not done just yet though. We need to set it up so that we actually have a moment where the game actually restarts when you hit the lowest amount of health possible, which is 0. So we're going to make it so that we go into the player health right here. We're going to open that up. Alright, so here we are in the player health script. We're going to be typing in a new if statement down here. It's going to be testing whether or not current HP is less than or equal to 0, at which point we're going to make it so that we go back to we restart our current level. We do this by typing application.load_level, and the specific level that we load is right here. Now the level that we're currently on, as you can see here, is called game, and that's what I decided I would call it no matter what I would do. So let's go ahead and do that. So now we have that saved as game. So we're going to go here. So we're going to go back into our script here. We're going to load the level called game, and that's the current level or scene that we're on. Now in order for this to actually work, we need to set it up in the build settings. So go to File, Build Settings, and then drag in our game thing here into the scenes in build. This will make it so that game is now the 0 in the index of all the levels. If you have multiple levels, we're currently accessing the one called game. Alright, so there we go. Let's go ahead and test that out. Oh, we have a bit of a problem. Oh, it looks like I spelled application wrong. Let's go ahead and fix that. It's application, not application, however I spelled it. And there we go. So that should have fixed itself there. Alright, so there we go. We're going to go ahead and click on play. And we're not going to spawn in any turrets. We're actually going to disable the pre-made turret there. And we're just going to wait. We're just going to wait till, we're just going to spawn in tons of waves right here. We're just going to wait till all 5 waves spawn in. And, once every single one of them have actually, once our health has gone all the way down to 0, it's just going to restart the level instantly and go back, to our first wave there. So you can see here we're about to hit the end. And now that we've hit it, you'll see that the level has restarted. Now you can see how it's kind of, has a really weird color tint, but don't worry, that will not happen when you actually export the game. It's just a thing that happens in Unity within the editor. Alright, so that is it for the Tower Defense game tutorial series here on HyperCube Games. Thank you so much for watching the entire thing. If you have watched the entire thing, good for you. You have now learned how to make a tower defense game from start to finish without anything that you actually had before. Besides the health bar logo there, that's the only thing that I gave you. You did this pretty much all by yourself. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Expect more tutorials of different types in the future. And if you want to suggest the types of tutorials that you want, go ahead in the comments below and let me know. I will respond to every single comment. If you have a question about how the series went, about certain episodes, about certain parts that you didn't really understand, let me know in the description below, and in the comments below, and I'll be sure to respond as soon as I can. For the 3rd time, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in future series. Have a great day.